Parents who have autistic children, the vast majority of them not only know absolutely without a doubt that their child became autistic, usually within 24 to 48 hours after a certain vaccine.
Despite the fact that they're on the news and they're constantly telling everybody out there vaccines don't cause autism, studies surveying parents with autistic children, to this day, still 40 to 70%, according to these studies, of these parents say they believe that vaccines, one or more, cause autism.
They will tell you, well, that's just a knee-jerk reaction of a parent. They need something to blame. They blame the vaccines because vaccines is something you're giving your kids every day. I will assure you, I have interviewed thousands of these parents and these stories. When they finally come to the conclusion that it's a vaccine that they chose to give their child, that is one of the darkest days for every one of these parents that's ever been through it. Because now I did it. I gave my kids something that I could have opted out of, I could have been against, I could have done some reading on it, and now the guilt is with them the rest of their lives. I assure you, this is not a go-to, jump to, I just want to blame vaccines, because the day you come to that conclusion, you're going to be blaming yourself the rest of your life, and no one makes that their first choice. So when you have up to 70% of parents saying it's the vaccine, these are parents in pain that have looked for every other reason there could have possibly been, and they're only left with one obvious conclusion.
Look at me.
The difference is startling. Say this home video of their son shows a bubbly toddler developing normally.
Oh, he was just the most interactive little boy.
He was so playful. Yeah, he was always just running around, running up to you, hugging you. And we thought he was actually developing early because his speech really started coming on really quickly. And we thought, oh yeah, we've got a genius on our hands.
Touch tummy.
Just after his first birthday, Indiana changed, withdrawing completely.
It's pretty heart-wrenching as a parent to see that. You know, you look at your child and you think, where's my little happy boy gone? You know, where's he gone?
So what happened?
Within 2 weeks of the MMR injection, he had such a profound change of his personality.
He had language loss. His speech really dropped off.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Indiana is not alone.
If you believe the MMR vaccine contributed to cause your child's autism, please stand up and raise your hand.
There are thousands of parents who are all saying the same thing, that the triple antigen, MMR, is to blame for their children's autism.
In 1995, 96, I started getting calls from parents who said my child was developing perfectly normally, and then they had their MMR vaccine in many cases, and then they just disappeared.
British gastroenterologist Dr. Andrew Wakefield believes he's found a link between the vaccine and autism. 3 years ago, he published his findings in the British medical journal The Lancet after studying 12 children whose parents saw a severe reaction following the routine inoculation.
These parents were not anti-vaccine. They'd taken their children along to be vaccinated. They were like you and me. They were highly articulate, professional individuals, many of them, who had merely followed the rules, but had observed these dramatic changes in their children.
You know, is there something to worry about with medicines? That is, might some of them have side effects? Do we need safety testing? I mean, and we're taking things that are, you know, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So, yeah, I think maybe we should have a safety system where we, you know, do trials and test things out.
And going back to Vietnam, you know, Vietnam doesn't have anything. There's no such thing as autism in 1975, in year 2000, year 2001. There's no such thing. When Vietnam signed the WHO, when Vietnam signed into the International Monetary Fund, the banking system, Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation introduced the vaccination program into Vietnam. Now Vietnam has over a 300% rise in autism.
Autism rates have gone from, now most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31. So they're going up again from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid, and we are going, at your direction, we are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
Think of that. So there was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it?
No, by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot.
The death rate from measles was 2 in a million, 2 years before the vaccine even was released in 1963. So when pediatricians and, if you don't get your kids vaccinated, they're going to die. It is absolutely a scare tactic. Well, what vaccines are is a syringe full of chemicals.
Parents would say, surely that's not true, because nationwide, pediatricians, doctors, parents, they believe in these vaccines. And most kids are doing fine after the shots.
No, they're not. They are not. First of all, when you say they believe in vaccines, that's the problem, is because it's a religion. I don't think that most of the pediatricians have even read a package insert, let alone understand what's actually coming through that needle.
I couldn't believe I'd never really gone down this rabbit hole. So I do a simple Google search, ingredients in vaccines, and CDC website pops up to the top saying, this is why it's a good thing that we put aluminum in your vaccine. This is why we think it's a good thing that we put formaldehyde in your vaccine. I said, what? So then I Google, okay, what are the side effects of aluminum? And they say, brain damage.
But if you get all the doses of 17 different vaccines, you will have doses of more than 100 chemicals, and you will get more than almost 12,000 micrograms of aluminum injected, and you'll get over 500 micrograms of mercury injected. Knowing what the ingredients are, this is not just a vial of sterile water and a little attenuated virus or a little particle of dead bacteria in there. They are loaded with chemicals.
When a baby is born, they are born with an immune system which is like a computer hardware. They've got the hardware there. It then has to be programmed with software. And part of that software for programming the immune system is picking up illnesses during childhood. Children should get German measles, they should get measles, they should get chickenpox, they should get mumps, because that is the software that programs their immune system hardware, if you like, and protects against cancer, heart disease and dementia later on in life. There has to be a revolution, because the medical profession has been completely controlled by Big Pharma. And that is not addressing root causes of disease. In fact, symptom-suppressing medication accelerates the underlying pathology. So drugs make people worse.
Parents, before you inject your child a decision that is irreversible, I wanted to let you know the scientific facts about this genetic vaccine, which is based on the mRNA vaccine technology I created. There are 3 key issues that parents need to understand. The first is that a viral gene will be injected into your children's cells. This gene forces your child's body to make toxic spike proteins. These proteins can cause permanent damage in children's critical organs, including their brain and nervous system, their heart and blood vessels, including blood clots, their reproductive system, and this vaccine can trigger fundamental changes to their immune system. The most alarming part about this is that these damages, once they occur, are irreparable. You can't fix lesions within their brains. You can't repair heart tissue scarring. You can't repair a genetically reset immune system, and this vaccine can cause reproductive damage that could affect future generations of your family. The second thing that you need to know about this is the fact that this novel technology has not been adequately tested. We typically need at least 5 years of testing and research before we can really understand the risks of new medicines or vaccines. Harms and risks from new medicines often become revealed many years later. So ask yourself, if you want your own child to be part of the most radical medical experiment in human history. One final point. The reason they're giving you to vaccinate your child is a lie. Your children represent no danger to their parents or grandparents. It's actually the opposite. Their immunity after getting COVID is critical to save your family, if not the world, from this disease. In summary, there is no benefit for your children or your family to be vaccinating your children against the small risks of this virus, given the known health risks of the vaccine that as a parent, you and your children may have to live with for the rest of their lives. The risk-benefit analysis for this vaccine isn't even close for children. As a parent and grandparent, my recommendation to you is to protect your children and do not give them this unproven vaccine.